Does free agent Robbie Ray make any sense for the Twins? Breaking it down on today's episode of Locked On Twins.
You are Locked On Twins, your daily Minnesota Twins podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And welcome to the Locked On Minnesota Twins podcast. Today is Wednesday, November 10th, and I'm your gracious host, Nash Walker. Thank you for making Locked On Twins your first listen every day. We are free and available on all podcast platforms. Again, this is Nash Walker, writer at Twins Daily, lifelong Twins fan, bringing you 5 days a week coverage on the Minnesota Twins, wherever you get your podcast, but also on YouTube. So please consider subscribing to the Locked On Twins channel on YouTube, posting videos every day as well. If you're listening to this on a podcast platform, thank you. If you're watching this on YouTube, thank you. Thank you for your support. There's been a lot of interaction so far this offseason early. It's November 10th. And a lot of responses, a lot of comments, a lot of tweets talking about the Twins. And I think this offseason is so interesting for them. And I'll just continue to bang that drum. I think this offseason they could go so many different ways with not only the players they sign and who they pursue, but also what they decide to do with Byron Buxton, what they decide to do with Josh Donaldson, with Taylor Rogers, with so many veterans on this roster who feel like they could be moved. What will the Twins do? And we know their number one need. And Derek Falvey at the GM meetings this week, I think they're in California, Do-Hyung Park reporting with Rhett Bollinger, I believe. Falvey talking about how the Twins are already active in looking for starting pitching, talking about how they're going to need to explore both the free agent market and the trade market. And on this show, on Locked On Twins, here's what I'm going to do for you this offseason. I'm going to make you more educated on this entire free agent class. I'm going to inform you on who the Twins could go after. And I had a promise last year. I'll keep this promise. There will not be a single player that the Twins sign or trade for who you haven't heard of on this podcast, because we're going to break down all the options. And at the beginning, it's always interesting looking at the top end of the market and looking at the tiers. And I talked about this yesterday. The free agent starting pitching tiers and the free agent market, it seems, on the trade wire, seems like it's going to play in the Twins' favor. And I don't want to get too optimistic. I don't want to get hopeful about that, but it just feels like there are plenty of teams who have not just one, but multiple starters who may be available on the trade market. Then you look at the free agent market, such a deep class to me, so many good arms, so many good pitchers I think the Twins could add here and potentially add for a bargain. And why that matters is, you might roll your eyes and say a bargain, like the Pohlads need to spend. They need to spend, yes, but the Twins have to fill more than one spot this offseason. So if you can get someone on a below market deal, at least compared to what they give you in 2021, that will help immensely, because you need to sign other guys. And that's why the trade market is so intriguing to me, because if you can add an arbitration eligible starting pitcher who costs 7, 8, 9, even 10 million bucks, that's a great deal. And when we talk about Luis Castillo, we talk about Sean Manaea, Chris Bassett, guys who would undoubtedly be making 15, 20, 25 million a year on the open market, are making like 8 million, 10 million, 12 million on their arbitration numbers. So the Twins could get a big time value there on the trade market. And it doesn't matter because I want the Pohlads to save money. It matters because I want there to be as much money as possible to go after another starter, because they need more than one. If they needed one starter, I would say just throw as much money as you can at Stroman, or throw as much money as you can at Robbie Ray. But I think they do have to be diplomatic about it this offseason, put themselves into a position where they can throw some more money at a certain free agent because they found a deal on someone else, someone who they think is going to provide excess value on that deal. Someone who provided insane excess value on his deal in 2021 was Robbie Ray. And the Blue Jays signed him for 1 year and $8 million. I remember when this happened. I looked back, thinking back on when he signed. I think it was very early in the offseason last year. And I remember the Blue Jays signing Robbie Ray, and I laughed. I was like, Robbie Ray for $8 million. And that's kind of my reaction when the Dodgers signed Andrew Heaney the other day for $8.5 million. It's like, Andrew Heaney was terrible last year. Robbie Ray, terrible in 2020. But this is what I mean by finding excess value, finding high upside plays. And this is what I've stressed so far this offseason. The White Sox signing Carlos Rodon for 1 year and $3 million allowed them to do so many other things. It allowed them to trade for Lance Lynn and add his salary to the books. It allowed them to do other things around the margins of the roster, sign Liam Hendricks to a huge deal, trade for Craig Kimbrell because they had the payroll space because Rodon was giving them ace level production at $3 million. The Blue Jays getting ace level Cy Young caliber production from Robbie Ray for $8 million allowed them to go after Marcus Semien very aggressively, allowed them to trade for Jose Barrios and add his money to the books because they had Robbie Ray on such a value. That's what the Twins need to be looking for. That's what every team is looking for. That's what the Dodgers are looking for with Andrew Heaney, loving his strikeout rate. The Blue Jays, for sure, loved Robbie Ray's strikeout rate. And if you look at strikeouts per nine, this is a great example of why strikeouts per nine is a flawed statistic and why I don't use walks per nine or strikeouts per nine. Robbie Ray is the all-time leader in MLB history in strikeouts per nine. But if you face 10 guys in an inning, which I'm sure Robbie Ray has because he has so many walks in his career, and you strike out 3 of them, that's 27 strikeouts per nine. If you face 3 hitters in an inning and strike out all 3, that's also 27 strikeouts per nine. Is that as efficient? No, you only struck out 3 out of 10 instead of 3 out of 3. So it's not as efficient. That's why I like strikeout rate, because if you strike out 3 out of 10, that's a 30% strikeout rate. If you strike out 3 out of 3, that's a 100% strikeout rate, which I think is the right way to look at it. 3 batters face 3 strikeouts, 10 batters face 3 strikeouts. Very different. And if you look at strikeouts per nine, it's the same. So Robbie Ray, the all-time leader in strikeouts per nine. That's not to take anything away from Ray, who I think has big-time stuff and I think could potentially be a big-time get on the free agent market. Let's talk about Ray. Break him down if you make sense for the Twins after this word from Built Bar. I love Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving's my favorite holiday. All of the good food and treats I love to eat, and plenty of them. But maybe you want a yummy dessert but isn't so full of calories and sugar. It's the perfect time for Built Bars. Built Bar is the new holiday dessert. Feast on something delicious and feel good about it. One slice of pie is upwards of 300 calories, and that's on the low end. Most Built Bars are only 130 calories and only 4 grams of sugar with plenty of protein. Replace the coconut cream pie with coconut Built Bar, or go for a raspberry Built Bar instead of that raspberry pie. Lots of good flavors to replace any pie, and they're low calorie, low carb, low fat, and full of protein. They're covered in 100% real chocolate, and they're soft and easy to chew. There's also nothing like a Built Bar Black Friday. Mark your calendar. Black Friday will be a huge event with all sorts of surprises. Go to Built.com, use promo code LOCKED15. That's LOCKED 15. You'll get 15% off your order. Use promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off at Built.com. Let's look at Robbie Ray, 30-year-old from Brentwood, Tennessee, 12th round pick by the Nats in 2010, 4.22 ERA and a walk rate over 10% in the minor leagues. I think it was 8 years in the minors for Robbie Ray, and just not good results. I mean, he wasn't a top prospect by any means for his stat line. Here's what the thing is with Robbie Ray. And when you look back at his track record, we talked about Kevin Gausman yesterday, how much track record matters to me among this tier. He didn't have a track record. But with that being said, he had a track record of a lot of strikeouts. His first 61 starts in the bigs, he had a 4.65 ERA, but a 24% strikeout rate. So solid 9% walk rate. And then in 2017, this is really interesting to me. 2017, he puts it all together for Arizona finally. 28 starts, 2.89 ERA. Strikeout rate was 33%. So finally reached that ceiling. His walk rate was 11%. So still high, but strikeout rate was enormous. Finished 7th in the Cy Young race in the National League in 2017 with Arizona. Then he just reverts right back to who he was before, 2018, 2019. Actually was a little bit better. I take that back. Was a little bit better. 57 starts, about average as a pitcher. Walk rate, though, 12%. Strikeout rate still above 30%. So with Robbie Ray and why the Blue Jays go after him, it's like, if you can just have him and tweak mechanically his delivery and his release point and have him just throw more strikes, this guy's going to be a beast. He has more upside than maybe anyone on the free agent market. They were 100% correct. 100% correct on that. They unlocked Robbie Ray. And in 2021, he was amazing after a disastrous shortened season in 2020. Made 11 starts, had an ERA over 6.50. His walk rate was 18%. So the Blue Jays, knowing that, signed him and guaranteed him $8 million. And I just thought, what? I'll say that again. I thought, what? Why would they do that? Here's why they would do it. Robbie Ray was unleashed. 32 starts, led the American League, 2.84 ERA, 32% strikeout rate. Walk rate was cut to 7%. So cutting his walk rate from 12% in 2018 to 2019 to 7%. So it's just a 5% decrease. Now, if you look at that, it's almost half, right? From 12 to 6, he got down to 7. Made such a difference for him. When you look at his pitches in the zone and pitches that were called balls, almost 42% of his fastballs were called balls in 2020. In 2021, that number dropped to 30% called balls on his fastball. So really cleaned up his command. And what it did is allowed him to get ahead in counts, allowed him to rack up strikeouts and just get outs at a really elite level. He was amazing. Robbie Ray, and what you'll see with hard throwing lefties and just aces in general who have a really low whip, don't give up a lot of hits, is he gave up a ton of homers, 33 home runs. A lot of the runs he gave up were on the home run ball, and that's significant. We'll come back to that. But what changed? So when you look at Robbie Ray and you think about him as a candidate to be signed to a long-term deal, it's important to think about what changed and if that's sustainable. His fastball, he upped the usage of it, averaged at 95 miles an hour. He throws super hard for a lefty. His slider's always been elite, 46% whiff rate, swing and miss rate on his slider in 2021. It's always been an elite pitch. It's just been about getting fastballs in the zone, throwing his fastballs for strikes. His chase numbers were pretty even. So you look at his track record of strikeouts and chase and all those things and why he was enticing to the Blue Jays, those numbers stayed even. It was just a matter of getting more swings and misses in the zone and a matter of throwing more strikes more than anything, just filling the zone with fastballs more than he ever had in his career. Robbie Ray's very simple as a pitcher, 89% four-seam fastball and slider against righties. That goes up to almost 96% versus lefties. So he's pretty much a two-pitch pitcher, and it's all about fastball command. If he's commanding his fastball, he's elite. If he's not commanding his fastball, he doesn't throw enough strikes to have enough value. And his misses in 2021 were more competitive. So getting more swings and misses on his just missed spots, like just in or just up in the zone, much easier to get swings and misses than non-competitive pitches. He works up with that fastball. And I mentioned fastballs called strikes way up in 2021. Righties had a 684 OPS against them, which against a left-handed pitcher, that's elite. And then a 593 OPS for lefties. So Robbie Ray was dominant. Robbie Ray was a huge reason why the Blue Jays were in the race late. He's going to win the American League Cy Young Award. I think that it's almost certain that he'll win the American League Cy Young Award. Just dominant in almost every category. ERA dominant, strikeout rate dominant, but very similar to who he was in 2017. And then he quickly switched back to being kind of average to below average and walking too many guys. So let's look at the pros and cons of Ray, if I think he makes sense for the Twins after this word from BetOnline. BetOnline is back and better than ever. A new web interface for the start of the basketball season, more props, odds, and lines than ever before. BetOnline remains your number one spot for all the basketball and football action this season. Head to our new updated desktop or mobile website to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use our promo code LOCKEDON to receive your bonus. From basketball, football, NHL, boxing, and UFC, right to your favorite Vegas casino games. Don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers available for the 2021 season. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports. BetOnline is where the game starts. Again, use promo code LOCKEDON, to receive your 50% welcome bonus. That's promo code LOCKEDON, LOCKEDON at betonline.ag. So, looking at Robbie Ray, the pros and cons and whether he makes sense for the Twins. The pros are he can be absolutely dominant. And I remember after 2019, even though 2019 was not a great year for him, I proposed a trade. Yohan Duran, one of the Twins' top pitching prospects still, and at the time. Now, some of that has worn off because he hasn't developed a whole lot with the lost 2020 season and then basically a lost 2021 season with an elbow injury. I proposed a trade. It was like Duran for Ray. It might have been Duran for Ray straight up. And Ray had one more year for 2020. And that would have been a bad deal for the Twins because he was terrible in 2020. But maybe they would have made the tweak that Toronto made with him. So you'll never know. But people laughed and thought, well, why? Why would you even consider that? Well, it's because he can be dominant, because the peripheral numbers are excellent and he can be an ace. He was an absolute ace this year for Toronto. When you look at the free agent market, how many guys have actually been aces? And when I think of ace, and this is such an arbitrary conversation to have, An ace to me, and I will stick by this, you have to have big time stuff, in my opinion, to be an ace at this point. You have to have the big fastball. You have to have a high strikeout rate. An ace gets out of big time jams with strikeouts. And I think Robbie Ray did that in 2021. I think he is that. I think he can be that. He's in his prime, throws super hard. The Twins could figure to add some velocity to their rotation and just to their staff in general. He's left-handed. Mostly all of the Twins' top pitching prospects, actually all of their top pitching prospects are right-handed. Jordan Balzovic, Yohan Duran, Cole Sands, Louis Varland, all right-handed. Matt Cantorino, Blaine Edlow, who's coming back from Tommy John. All of them are right-handed. They could use a left-hander to add into the mix for the next 5 years. And he's the probable Cy Young winner. I mean, I think from a fan perspective, seeing that the Twins would sign Robbie Ray, who's probably going to win the Cy Young award, how much better could you do? Like, you're signing the reigning Cy Young winner when you need starting pitching so badly. I think from a morale standpoint, it's a great move for any team to sign a Cy Young winner. I just think there's a kind of a pizzazz to that. And I think especially for the Twins, who need to bring their fans back in, I think it could be a huge positive to sign someone like Ray. And he could be a Wheeler-type bargain. I look at Zach Wheeler as being a bargain from 2019, even though he signed for, I think, $5 and $118. I look at him as a bargain because he's clearly outpitching that contract. MLB Trade Rumors has Robbie Ray for 5 years and $130 million. That's a pretty penny, $26 million a year. Fangraphs average about 5 for 107, like $21 million a year. Twins Daily, we have him for 5 and 125, so $25 million a year. And then Jim Bowden has him basically at Wheeler money, mentioned Wheeler at 5 years and $120 million, $24 million a year. Why I'd be hesitant to give Robbie Ray all that money, the track record, right? How much has he pitched well in the past? How many starts has he pitched well in the past? We're looking at one good full season in 2021 and then another good full season in 2017. What happened in between? It's almost scarier to me that Robbie Ray broke out in 2017 and then reverted right back to not being very good anymore. And then in 2021, broke out again and had a huge season. So, the track record is tricky. I think it does bring down his market. If he was dominant for 5 years straight, he's probably getting $330 million. But we're looking at 5 for 120 or 130 because there's questions about the walk rate and whether he'll kind of lose what he found in 2021. Now, do I think he will? No, I don't think he will. His value is also super, super high right now. So the value has never been higher for Robbie Ray. I think that's true of him and Gausman. For Stroman, I mean, he's coming off a career year, but his value is always high. Like, his value was high at the 2019 deadline. I think Simeon Woods Richardson, who's now a Twins prospect, was in that deal. Anthony Kay, I believe, was the other piece in that trade. So his value's always been high as a starter. He's always been well regarded. I don't think that's the case for Ray. I think his value's never been higher. His expected ERA was 3.55 in 2021. So you wonder if the home runs, add a few more walks, not getting those outs in big time spots can bring him back down to earth a little bit. Is it sustainable? The home runs are questionable. You can see he starts to get behind in a couple more counts, gives up more homers. Like, the difference, we talked about this with Bailey Ober, who gave up more homers than he did walks this year for the Twins. If you can cut his home runs down from, I think it was 20 to 15, his ERA is going to improve immensely, and he's going to be a lot better on paper next year and just in general. With Robbie Ray, if he gets behind in a handful more counts, gives up more homers, he's not going to be that ace, and I think there's a chance that he could get back to not throwing strikes anymore at such an efficient rate. His career walk rate is 10%. So there's risk here. I also think when you look at Robbie Ray, he's super comparable to another free agent, Carlos Rodon. Left-hander, big-time fastball, amazing slider, one of the best sliders in the game, throws hard, two-pitch pitcher. I look at Carlos Rodon, who's coming off an equally good year, I would say, in terms of just on a rate basis. He didn't throw as many innings because of the health problems, and that's why Carlos Rodon is probably going to sign for only 1 or 2 years. He may sign for more. Some team might take a risk on him. But Robbie Ray, in my mind, is going to cost 5 times the price of Carlos Rodon. And if I'm just looking for a high upside value signing in 2022, I might go to Rodon for 1 year and, I don't know, $15 million for next year instead of committing $125 million to Robbie Ray, because it gives you that opportunity with Rodon not getting the qualifying offer. And Robbie Ray, I believe, did get the qualifying offer. Gives you that opportunity to give Rodon the qualifying offer if he has a good year in 2022. Now, a lot more risk with Rodon, a lot more health issues with Rodon, but when they're on the mound, very comparable pitchers, like very comparable in 2021, super similar in terms of stuff and strikeouts and getting outs and being dominant. So I might choose to go to Rodon over Ray, and Ray to me is very similar to him. So I also think the Jays want him back. MLB trade rumors projecting all three guys projecting that he's going to go back to the Blue Jays. They're in the middle of a contention cycle. Why would they want to lose Robbie Ray right now? Maybe it's the best offer that Ray gets. The Jays have money to spend. I think they're going to spend and be aggressive. I think there's a really good chance he goes back to the Blue Jays. I agree with those guys at MLB trade rumors. So Robbie Ray is intriguing from an upside standpoint, from a kind of floor slash stability standpoint, maybe not as exciting for the Twins. But I could also argue that I got to stick to my word at the beginning of the year, beginning of the offseason, excuse me. I said they should be going for high upside. They should be going for guys who can be aces because that allows you to add behind them instead of maybe adding a number two like Stroman or Gaussman. But Gaussman also in 2021 ace level production in a different way. Robbie Ray is going to get paid. I'm super interested to see what he gets paid, and I'm also super interested to see how he responds to a contract. And if it's the Twins who offer or get Robbie Ray, I will be very intrigued to see. Love the arm. I like Robbie Ray a lot. I just am a little more apprehensive, I think, on him than Stroman or even Gaussman. Thank you for listening today. Have a great day. Go Twins. We'll be back tomorrow continuing our free agent profiles. Thank you for making Locked On Twins your first listen every day. Now make Locked On Bets your second listen, your daily one-stop shop for all your gambling needs. Locked On Bets, hosted by your boy Q with expert analysis and insight from Lee Sterling. Thanks again for listening. Have a great day. Go Twins.